Right. Well, are we ready to roll? Oh, no. That's too lame. Are we ready to roll? Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, we have saved this and paced this and timed this because we're going to end with a bang. We talked about the aspiration. We talked about the policies. We've talked about the plans. Right now, right here, you're going to hear about the actions necessary, not waiting for help to parachute in from the federal government back in Washington, D.C., but in our cities, in our local governments, in our institutions here in California, action is being taken. And we brought together a panel not just of advocates, not just of people who have accomplishments, but people who know how to get things done. So if you brought a pen, pick it up right now, get a piece of paper, because you're about to get an education in how to make Energy 2030 no longer an audacious goal, but an achievable goal. No, strike that. No longer achievable, but the accomplishment of every person in this room. So are you ready to hear that? Let's do it. We have 3 speakers on this panel today. I'm going to introduce them all right now instead of breaking you up. The first will be His Honor, Mayor Bob Foster of the City of Long Beach. Give him a hand. If you know the history of energy efficiency in California, you know of the Warren-Alquist Act. If you know the details behind it, you know that Bob Foster was there making energy efficiency part of the fabric of California's public policy. If you know anything about the way the energy system works, you know about the California ISO. If you know about that, then you know that Bob Foster brings vision and leadership to that enterprise to make sure that we have reliable, safe, affordable energy and environmentally beneficial energy for every Californian. And if you know about the City of Long Beach, then you know His Honor Mayor Bob has spent his terms in office marrying together not just wise environmental policy, but sound economics to make it real in one of America's major port cities. After Bob, we'll have Fred Harris. I don't know if you're on the same email list that I am, but if you are, you know that Fred Harris says that he works with the California Community College's Chancellor's office. That is a lie. His real work is as one of the greatest, most prolific advocates for energy efficiency getting installed in our California institutions than I have ever met. I've actually asked him to calm down a little bit today, but I don't think we'll be able to contain him when he starts telling you how to make things happen. And finally, we have on the far end of the panel, Mary Ann Lutz. And I've saved the best for last because I only have one thing to say about Mary Ann, the mayor of Monrovia. That is that Mary Ann is gold. Mary Ann is gold. Because the city of Monrovia participates in Edison's Energy Leaders Partner Program and just recently earned gold status. Now, think about this. This is not a program like an AYSO tournament where every kid gets to play and you all get a medal after. If you want to achieve gold status through our Energy Leader Partners Program, you have to earn it. You have to show wise leadership. You have to follow it up with commitment, and you have to make projects happen. Mary Ann has done that for the city of Monrovia. So without further ado, if you're willing, ready, and able to listen, are you? Yes. We'll start it off with Mayor Bob. You can sit, stand, whatever you prefer.
I'm tired of sitting.
Please.
What is this?
It'll be on.
It is on. All right. I'm really glad that this is Gene Rodriguez's last day. I have to not last day working. Let's put that here. And this is really amazing. First of all, after listening to all that BS, I'm glad I wore my boots because it's getting pretty damn deep up here. I didn't realize he was a carnival barker, for God's sake. But, you know, this is really rich, okay? He comes and he tells you about the Warren-Alquist Act. He tells you indirectly about Title 24, which I wrote the first version of that and the law that required it. He tells you I'm chair of the ISO, and he tells you I'm mayor of Long Beach. We're sitting in a Southern California Edison facility, and what doesn't he tell you? He doesn't tell you that I used to be president of Southern California Edison. It's really freaking amazing. So first of all, I'm going to be a little iconoclastic up here, which is not my nature, as you know. I can tell you about, look, I'm not going to sit here and you know, about all the things that Long Beach has done, we got this and a green fleet, and, anyway. We have done what we can, and we're doing more. About almost half of our fleet, or even more than half our fleet are now very efficient alternative fuel vehicles. We've got a solar array on our convention center. We're building a brand new Gerald Desmond Bridge with a bike lane, which was a big fight about getting that done. We're a bike-friendly city. We have made remarkable strides in water conservation and water efficiency. And, we're at the point where you start running into some diminishing returns. The best and most simple thing that I think we're going to start embarking on is trying to transform all our lighting to LEDs. There's really nothing in terms of dollar returns on your money. That's just the most simple thing and the most effective thing you can do, including in your home. And there's a lot of things that can be done here, but I want to talk a little bit about something different, because the idea is, how do you move energy efficiency to the next level? And I'm going to tell you, I don't think it's done administratively. I don't think it's done by passing more standards, because we're going to get into the micro level now. God, I don't know what the hell they're doing in Title 24 has got so many little things on it now. It's driving the building industry crazy. And I just think that's not all that fruitful any longer. But if we really want to open up the creativity of entrepreneurs and to open up the creativity of the marketplace so that you can get really new, innovative approaches to energy efficiency and demand response, which I think is kind of the next wave, we are not going to do that without a market. And I'm just going to tell you, I fight with the Public Utilities Commission all the time on this. If we don't get a market, either part of a capacity market or its own separate market, so that efficiency can compete head-to-head with generation to deliver the same kind of dispatchable energy that you can with generation, and it's possible, we are not going to come anywhere close to achieving the potential for efficiency in California or in the nation. We live in the most innovative state in the country. You have Silicon Valley up north, where innovation is kind of their second nature. And I will guarantee you that if you put dollars out there and say, if you come up with a great idea, if you can aggregate demand, if you can invest money in hardware and software and deliver it to the grid, you will get people to respond to that. You will get business people, you will get inventors, you will get entrepreneurs to come in with great ideas, stuff that you and I sitting down here could never imagine. And certainly he could never imagine. It is astounding to me how much resistance you get to that idea. And I know in my bones, I've been around efficiency now for just about 40 years. And I'm committed to it. I'm committed to it culturally and in my soul. I think it's the smartest thing we can do. But we're at the point where we're just not going to get very much further. And we're going to look like a sideshow until you go right and compete head-to-head with new resources. And if we don't get the political will to do that in this state, we're going to fall behind. It's a fight every day. I know you had Mike Peavy on here before. We've kind of made little baby steps now to a capacity market. And we want that capacity to market to have efficiency and demand response as part of it. And I want to put that incentive, that financial incentive out there for very creative people come in and tell us how to really save energy and tell us how to compete with people that drive turbines. And I think it's possible, and I think we'll open up a tremendous area of possibility for efficiency. So that's the fight in this state, to be very blunt. I've got a bunch of regulators in San Francisco who don't want to give up jurisdiction, who are afraid of markets, and are worried about, quite frankly, about FERC jurisdiction. You know, if we do this, we'll become FERC jurisdictional. To me, this is the most ridiculous argument I have ever heard. Talk about pedestrian and talk about guarding your turf. We will not achieve the efficiency results in California because we don't want to be FERC jurisdictional. That's it in a nutshell. And look, I love Mike Peavy. He's a very, very close friend. He is simply wrong on this issue. This is something you have to join, and we have to move on, and we have to move on pretty quickly. That's it in a nutshell, and good luck to all of you.
Well done, sir. We told you you're going to get the straight scoop. Are you ready for more? So we've heard about unleashing market forces. Fred, what do you have to add to the agenda?
Yeah, Fred.
Yeah, really? Yeah, Marianne, what do you have to add? Well, first of all, I wanted to say, who needs a cup of coffee when you have Gene preceding you? Oh, my God. Anyway, good morning. Thank you all. It's an honor to be here among all of you, an honor to be here with this esteemed panel. Pretty powerful, pretty knowledgeable. I'm kind of an action guy. I don't care about a lot of the policy details in terms of I'm interested in getting the job done. We have an awesome task for community colleges. And first of all, I just want to share with you greetings from Sacramento. One of the other kind of things I do, I'm a trustee for a flood control district, and so I'm admiring the flowers that we have offered here in terms of very water efficient flowers. And again, our reservoir for Sacramento is at 18% level, and I think the other major ones for the Northern California are at 30% level. So flowers like this are going to be more than appropriate as we go down the road. Yeah, they're fake too on top of that. And they're probably recyclable on top of that too. So again, community colleges, largest public higher education system in the world and lowest funded in the state, even lower per student than K-12. So my message to all of you today is that the way to get the job done, and is what this particular event symbolizes, is through collaboration. So I'm kind of curious, audience-wise, how many folks here are from local government in one form or fashion? And anybody from K-12? Missing out on that particular? Oh, we got one. Oh, excellent. And I've met there's 4 or 5 community college districts that are here, which is outstanding. Community colleges, 2.4 million students, 80% of the public education students in the state. We're funded at roughly $5,000 per student. You know, K-12 is at about 7 to 8. CSU's at 10 and UC's at 20, but we're not bitter about that at all. But the point being is there's never going to be enough resources. We have 75 million square feet as a plant for the community colleges, but it's really not a system. A little key here, it's not a system. It is a confederation of 72 districts that are locally run by locally elected boards. And so what you do in terms of what my job particularly, among many things in terms of on the sustainability and facility side, is to try and provide leadership and try to find funding and clear the path for districts to get the job done. If the resources and the means are provided to our districts, and basically what that means, take away the roadblocks, they'll get the job done. And so we need to be finding resources for them and opportunities. And again, what the path that community colleges have taken is that through public-public and public-private partnerships, and again, one of the primary ones that's topical for today is the investor-owned utility partnership, started with the PUC, again, with their urging, I guess you could nicely say, and funding provided, but more importantly, working together with the 4 investor-owned utilities in a formal way, and we're reaching out more and more to the various public-owned utilities in order to we have shared needs, shared goals here, and rather than doing things separately, we kind of realize we're doing stuff in energy efficiency, the utilities are, why not join forces? And by doing that, we provided a means to address the energy efficiency and beginning now with demand response and demand side supply management. But, again, for community colleges, we established a policy, and again, spending a lot of time on policy, I tend to, hit the snooze button like Bob had a little bit earlier. But in terms of trying to, just enable and empower districts to get things done. So with that, we had the partnership, and we're in our 7th, 8th year in terms of that, which has been highly successful. But one of the issues for districts, the incentives that are provided, which are outstanding through the PUC and through the utilities, roughly provide about 20% of a project's cost. If the district doesn't have the other 80% to get the job done, projects will sit on the wayside. And so what we have found in terms of getting management decisions to get the job done is we're trying to find other sources of revenue. So the on-bill, off-bill, all the different terms that are being used for financing is an outstanding opportunity to do that. But also what has been a real success story for community colleges, a vote of confidence by the legislature and the governor in terms of leadership for Prop 39, with considering school buildings in general are 10% of the energy hogs in terms of buildings in the country, that we're putting our share of the Prop 39 dollars to work. We've got the money just was basically released in October, November, and we have 20 million, half of it invested already in 144 projects at 44 of our districts, and we're going to have the balance of the $20 million going into to finish projects for this first year in the next couple of months. But all of that aside, working together in terms of getting the job done, in terms of whatever it means. Again, I think we are resource rich within community colleges, albeit the lowest funded in terms of the system. By coming together, we have representatives here of the faculty at Mount San Antonio College down the road a piece, our largest single size college in the district, in the system. That faculty is training students, our core competency of transfer, vocational and education, and also basic skills education, training students to give them the skills to be then go into internships to get jobs. Really, it's about jobs. Prop 39 is not the Energy Efficiency Act, it's the Job Creation Act with the Job Creation Fund. And having faculty plugged into this, our core competency in terms of training not only the staff within the system, but more importantly, the community that surrounds it, is key. That ongoing, that will be the gift that keeps on giving. When I hear about the sexiness of energy efficiency, really the biggest sexiness is what kind of green in terms of money does that provide in terms of allowing people, all of you, and specifically for us, our districts, to get the job done. And that's the key. And if anything else, I think I'll stop there. I just want to mention to Stephen, relative to DirecTV, can I talk to your folks about downgrading in terms of I'm an over-consumer, in terms of we have 3 DVRs and we can record with my family 9 shows at once. I just, we need to, your sales staff and technical, installation staff can't be so effective in their job. I just want to share that with you. So thank you very much.
So from innovation to collaboration, and now Marianne, what do you add to the mix?
Good afternoon. I'm very honored to be part of this discussion and in this company as well. What I wanted to talk to you about is what's happening on the local government end, and from the big picture of the United States all the way down to a municipality that under 40,000, which is my community. What are we doing? How are we making it happen? And what are our goals moving forward? So starting out with, I want to talk about the U.S. Conference of Mayors. Many of you are not governmental people in this room, so let's talk about what that is. The Conference of Mayors is an organization where about 600 to 700 mayors in the whole United States belong to. We meet on a regular basis, and we have several committees. One of our committees is the Energy Committee, of which I am a vice chair. In 2005, the U.S. Conference of Mayors stuck to their guns, and they created a document about energy efficiency, sustainability, if you will. And it was called the U.S. Mayors Climate Protection Agreement. And at their conference in Chicago in 2005, more than 140 mayors signed on to this agreement. And this agreement had several action items that each city would agree to try to implement within their city. A huge step forward to try to work on saving our environment and saving energy throughout the country. that has continued to this day and culminated with, at our last meeting in 2013, a resolution that was part of the Alliance, was one of the sponsors for, that is entitled Support to Double the Nation's Energy Productivity. So the mayors understand that we start out with making goals and responsibilities within our cities, and then we have to keep talking about it. We have to keep working with it, and things change along the way. So this resolution is a step for us to heighten the discussion. It's the body with which the Conference of Mayors does their lobbying work in Washington and in all of the states. All of us who are members take that document with us when we meet with our Congress members and our senators, and we say, you see, the U.S. Conference of Mayors is behind us on this. We need some help. So it's a really important organization. The U.S. Conference of Mayors was one of the key organizations that helped bring the energy block grants. These energy block grants, which could be paid for and brought back, fingers crossed, knock on vinyl, whatever this is. The energy block grants were amazing tools that cities all across this country could use to incentivize using energy better in our states. So let's take it down to a more local level, a Los Angeles level. The County of Los Angeles is divided into 6 different organizations called Council of Governments. There are 6 of them. The largest one you're sitting in. Welcome to San Gabriel Valley. San Gabriel Valley is the largest of the Council of Governments, and they've been working with Edison and now including the gas company in what you heard a little bit about before called the EnergyWise Partnership. This EnergyWise Partnership in 2010 to 12, let me give you some numbers that occurred just in San Gabriel Valley. 45 projects were completed in our valley, saving close to $1 million. And the cities received incentives from Southern California Edison of about over $600,000. $600,000. $100,000 to a city like mine is a police officer. That's a huge incentive for a municipality. In 2013, just this past year, the EnergyWise Partnership had 15 projects in just the San Gabriel Valley, 31 cities. We saved over 1.4 million kilowatts and 18,000 therms of energy. And the cities received more than $160,000 back to them from Edison. You heard a little bit about Monrovia becoming a gold city and how you have to earn that. And it truly is, it's a cumulative kind of a situation. We've been working in this program since 2009. And you have to work your way up from a bronze to a silver to a gold. It's something that every city achieves. We have 6 cities in the San Gabriel Valley that are at gold level and 1 city that's at platinum level. I think in the next year we'll have 2. We're working very hard in our city to achieve the goals there. One of the things that our Council of Governments worked on with every city was energy action plans. They received a grant so that every city could look at their energy usage and figure out how can we reduce the energy usage in our city. You heard earlier today that the cities are usually the largest property owner and can make the most effect of energy savings, and we are all taking that to heart in San Gabriel Valley. So now let's go down to my little community of Monrovia. In Monrovia, we adopted in 2007 what we call our Monrovia Environmental Accords. These are 21 action plans that have to do with energy, water, greenhouse gas emissions, you name it, we've got it in there. Every year, our staff gives us a report of where we are in our progress in meeting these goals. We took every single department in our city, including police and fire, which is kind of unusual, and they became part of what we call the Green Team. And the Green Team works on these goals together and finds new goals and works to achieve these goals. In the past few years, we have made great strides in our goals, and our biggest goal is to reduce our energy consumption in our city area by over 50%, and we're working very closely towards that. We have done things like a low emission vehicle policy. We have also done a purchasing an environmental purchasing policy. So everything that's purchased in our city has to go through a rigorous checkpoint. We also have an extended producer responsibility resolution in our city. So we look at all aspects of it. I could get into the water part, but we'd be there all day. So we won't go into the water aspect. But our city being awarded the gold level was something that was very important to us, and we did that. We achieved it. The final thing that actually achieved it is replacing our pumps for our water department. That is one of the largest source of energy usage for any city, is their water movement. And replacing your pumps and getting energy efficiency there is very, very important. In the future, our community of Monrovia will be working with a new group called CHIRP. CHIRP is a group that works with the Energy Network. And you heard a little bit today about the Energy Network not really working very well in the state of California because of the energy upgrade program not working very well. This is a nonprofit group that has started in the city of Claremont, and they are working for a whole house retrofitting. But they do it through the grassroots efforts of volunteers. And we are starting that in Monrovia to start trickling down the energy efficiency to our residents so that they can achieve some of these goals too.
Thank you. How about a hand? So I think you've heard it all, and we ended up exactly where we wanted to end up, making it happen at the local level. Who in this room can argue with the proposition that doing energy efficiency just put 6 more policemen on the streets in Monrovia? Well done by you. Another hand. So we're now to the point where you have, well, strike that. You don't have the opportunity. You sat and you heard the straight scoop from these leaders. We're going to give you the privilege of getting 2 questions in, and be prepared to get the honest answer. So who's first among us? Who has the personal courage to stand up and ask this panel a question? Bob, you talked earlier about the use of market forces. I'm going to unleash some right now. For the first question in the room, a crisp American $20 bill. Now, who wants to ask a question? Here we go. Stand up and ask your question.
You got to declare that too.
Thank you. My name is Lori Atwater, and I'm a part of the Energy Efficiency Partnerships with Southern California Edison. And I want to thank the panel for their presentation. We've been working very closely with the community colleges, and so my question is for Fred, because I think you've been very shy about your accomplishments. Can you really tell us what are the projections for the community colleges? I mean, there's really been an outstanding achievement that you've done this past year, and propose to see happen in 2014 in terms of.
You know, Fred, we already know she can be bought.
Yeah, thank you, Lori. That's an extra 20 coming your way. Is that? So thank you very much. Well, first of all, this is so not about me. Collaboration is about how we all come together. But kind of the point I was trying to get to, and it's being maybe a little too abbreviated, is that we had, before Prop 39, the idea of enabling and came into being, we had at least still an $80 million backlog of projects. When districts realized that this was something that was, the means were being provided for them, the funding was being provided them to get the job done, we received $400 million worth of projects. Keeping in mind, for the 5 years of Prop 39, we'll probably be getting close to $250 million. But in the first year, what that unleashed was the ability to get, $400 million worth of projects. And so what is exciting about that is that what districts, in achieving these particular sets of goals and achievements, you've got, kind of step back, in a district's budget, 85% of their budget is tied up in salaries and benefits. That's the average in community colleges. So the remaining budget, you know, the biggest discretion of those discretionary funds, the biggest part of that is energy. So the more that they can shrink that part of the energy budget through making key capital and other investments that basically impact on the support side of the budget, that habit pattern, which has been happening, you know, throughout our system, but this is going to just take a quantum leap with this further investment, not only of the partnership, the efforts of all the investor-owned utilities and our work with the public-owned utilities like LADWP, but we're going to advance even further, keeping in mind on top of that, over the next 10 years, community colleges has a need for $35 billion worth of investments in capital facilities in order to meet our enrollment demand. And that's probably not going to happen, so we have to start doing things smarter in terms of making, you know, other types of resource investments. And this whole area of energy efficiency and, in a larger context, sustainability is an exciting means in order to get the real green, the dollars, into the budget and for other expenses, like on the local government side, for something that's public health and safety. For us, is meeting our educational mission. Thanks for the question.
Wonderful.
Should I grab this $20 for you right now? Is that?
Rick, please. Wait for the microphone.
My question is whether I would stay bought for $20, but Bob, a question
We
for
just
you.
need to rent you. We don't need to buy you.
A question for you. Do you think the same market approach could be applied to water as well, water efficiency, which would have the effect of moving resources around the state with virtual type of water?
You know, I haven't given that a lot of thought, but I have certainly over the past 7 or 8 years developed a pretty good understanding, and I would characterize it this way. All the things that, you know, we might do, let's just say administratively or in conjunction with programs with companies like Edison, those are great. I'm not, you know, basically, cities will respond if there's a financial benefit to them, and all of us will chase those dollars to be able to provide more services in other areas. But if you really want to unlock the kind of consistent creativity, nothing takes the place of the marketplace. You simply cannot replicate the hundreds of thousands of ideas or decisions that can be made in response to financial incentives. If I'm an entrepreneur and I know that I can go out and aggregate all these city colleges with a device I can install, and I can now connect directly with the grid and get rewarded for that in the marketplace, and they'll benefit and I'll benefit. There are literally thousands of things like that out there.
I get those calls all the time.
Yeah, I know. I see no reason. Yeah, the problem is we're not unlocking the financial side of it. I see no reason why that wouldn't work in water. I don't see any reason why that couldn't work in water. I mean, electricity is even, to me, more difficult than water because of its, let's just say, I wouldn't say its inability, but the difficulty, at least currently, in storing it. We solved that problem. We've solved a lot of issues. You know, we know we can store water. We know it's difficult to get the facilities, but we can store it. And I think that I have to reflect on this a bit more, but I don't see why it wouldn't work.
I see a hand in the back. We'll allow one last question. Let's make it quick, though.
Okay. I'm going to ask a sticky question because since you guys are the straight shooters here. So my name is Felicia Williams. I'm from Edison International, and I also am a Pasadena Water and Power customer. But what challenges do you find in Long Beach and Monrovia since you don't have the ability to control your own municipal utility? So we saw DWP came here and we have 10% energy efficiency goals. They have the ability to control their own utility. What challenges do you face that you have sort of an investor-owned utility as opposed to your own utility to be able to implement things like energy efficiency?
First of all, we have our own water department, our own oil and gas department. We are a gas utility, so in fact, one of only 2, I think, in the state. I don't see any impairment there. We've got a great relationship with Edison. We've had a great relationship with them at a lot of the projects at the port, which have been very, very focused on the environment and efficiency. If we had our own utility, quite frankly, I will tell you, I have more trouble moving my gas department to do efficiency work than I do working with Edison. And it's just kind of ingrained in the business. I'm not going to get into the different cultures between investor-owned and publicly owned. I think there are different cultures. And sometimes it's harder, at least I find it harder, to move bureaucracies to be innovative than it is. I can come up with an idea and I can call Edison and say, you know, do you have a program for this? If we made this investment, is there any way we can partner with you? It works pretty well, and I'm pretty gratified with that. I've got to kind of kick my gas department in their butts to get them to do stuff. It's not that they're bad at it. They just, you know, they're more worried about making sure the dollars come in the door, the bills go out. They're doing their gas line reconstruction and renovation, and that's all important. That's what they're focused on.
Marianne, you get the last word.
And for a smaller community like myself, we are great partners with Edison. They actually offer us some things that we could not do on our own in our community. And so we really engage in as much as we can with the partnership with them in trying to find efficiencies. But I will say that one of the key elements that I believe makes a big difference in my community is the fact that we are truly engaged with Edison. We are truly partners and have been before the big windstorm that blew everything over. Because we had the relationship with them, it was a lot easier in our community than some of the other communities, and we were one of the 2 hardest hit communities. I engage with Edison myself personally. I engage with their local government advisory board. I engage anytime I'm at an event where I see somebody with Edison. I do it through our Council of Governments. What it makes you do is it makes you look outside the box to find other ways to connect. It also makes our city look at other partners that we can bring in that we can include with our partnership with Edison. And so I don't find it inhibiting. I find it a challenge, but a welcome challenge because we can bring more partners to the table.
So you've heard the straight scoop. You will now take these messages back and act on them. But before we do, we have 2 last things on the agenda. We're going to bring up Kateri and Erwin for their final thoughts. But before we do that, won't you join me in thanking what I think was, quite frankly, the best panel ever. I am.
Good luck.
Thanks, Bob. I appreciate it.
You want to go first? Oh, I don't care. Whichever way you want to do it. How do you want to do it? Yeah, why don't you go first? Okay. Thank you. I want to add my own personal thanks to the panel, and especially Bob Foster. He is a member of the Alliance Board of Directors and has been a huge contributor over the years. Thank you very much. We've come to the end of the day, and I hope that we have been able to provide you with enough enthusiastic information to engage all of you in the room in what we're doing with Energy 2030. I, again, very much appreciate the offers of participation that I've received, and very importantly, the offers to take your connections and your constituencies and spread this word out and getting them engaged in helping us to double energy productivity between now and 2030. There's a sign, a board here. We'd love to get your name on it. We'd also love to get your card. Any way that we can engage you. There are a multitude of tools on the Alliance's website at ase.org or under energy2030.org, and they're the materials that you have will point you to that. We will be signing all of you up to be something we call our E-No advocates, where we will get to you when things are hot on Capitol Hill and we need some help and engagement from the grassroots level. You can literally, by clicking a couple of buttons, join us in reaching out to your member of Congress. You don't even have to know his or her name. It's all taken care of electronically, magically, behind the box. But we have specific messages and asks. And as I mentioned earlier in the day, there actually is an opportunity to get some energy efficiency legislation through the Congress this year. It's a bill known as Shaheen-Portman, and they've brought it to the floor once of the Senate, and they're preparing to bring it back, and we really could use the voices from outside the Beltway calling for action at that level. So we're going to sign you up. We're going to hope you'll participate with us at the federal level, and we hope that, again, you will sign up. I've been promised by